Disney Vibes Podcast, talking insider tips, tricks, and pixie dust. For the most magical place on Earth, here's Andrew and Heather.
Hello, everybody. Once again, welcome to the Disney Vibes Podcast. My name is Andrew.
My name is Heather.
And this is episode number 4 of the Disney Vibes Podcast. And once again, we want to thank you for listening. The content is brought to you by Magical Destinations Travel. You can find us on the web at bookmdtravel.com. And one of our magical agents will be with you to assist you throughout planning your vacation. There's no obligation for a free quote and no cost to you ever. Also, if you like our content, please provide feedback and a rating on however you are reaching or hearing us, I should say, whether it be Apple, Google, Pocket Cast, Spotify. Leave a review, hopefully positive, and we'll go from there. So we greatly appreciate your support. So it's been a very eventful week.
Yes, for sure. We just honestly, like, we were just going through our stories. We're like, oh my gosh, you know, there's a new one. So,
yes, there's a lot going on, and that is primarily because the 50th anniversary is coming up on October 1st. So there's a lot of things that Disney is kind of in the final stretch, for lack of a better term, where they are preparing everything for Friday, October 1st to kick off with the 50th anniversary. So before we jump into the news, it's also been a busy week in our lives. Our kids are running around crazy. School is back in session. You know, all good things, but it is definitely busy. We did have one of our agents down at Disney World, and I'm sure you may have seen some of her stories broadcast through the social channels, and we'll get to talk with her hopefully soon, get her on the podcast to see what she was seeing as well, because a big one for her was Space 220, which we talked about last week with the restaurants, is now open. Primarily, it was standby for the last week or so. It is going now. You can get a advanced dining reservation for it. And we talked about the menu. Same thing with Steakhouse 71. So there's a lot going on with Disney, preparing for the 50th anniversary. What do you think, Heather? What's going on?
oh my goodness. So one thing that I think we really need to talk about is the fact that they are now returning dessert parties and dinner packages with the start of the 50th anniversary. So way back when, we participated in one of the dessert parties. It was I think it was Frozen Ever
It was
After?
the Frozen After. So
Yes.
again, we're still getting through the rust through this. This is Ears What's Happening. Heather forgot to mention that. So it's 2 weeks in a row. We got to dust the rust off. She just likes to jump right in again, and I'm like, come on, you got to be prepared with everything. So
I am.
Here's what's happening.
Here's
So
what's
she's
happening.
talking about the dessert parties, and we did talk. She's talking and mentioning about the Frozen dessert party. We actually experienced it at Epcot. So go ahead. You can continue now.
Well, can I? Are you sure? So, I believe Jameson was not born, so we just had Brayden and Sophia, and Brayden was probably, I think, like 18 months old. So Sophia was at like a really great age, and it was, I don't even think the second Frozen was out. So first Frozen was like the movie to see then. And we ended up going to, it was a party. You had to go inside. I don't even remember where it was in Epcot. I believe it was in, where's Epcot's country? Or where's the country? And it was in Norway, but you had to go like upstairs in one of the buildings there. And it was almost like a conference type room, but then they like revealed this amazing spread of all these different types of desserts. I remember, I think it was the popcorn that was smoking. Andrew, do you remember that?
Yeah.
Because it had, I think, like the frozen, not the frozen ice. What do they call the ice that?
Dry ice.
Yes, that. Or carbonated something. I don't know.
Liquid nitrogen.
Whatever.
We're going to turn this into a science lesson, folks. Last week I think it was social studies for Heather, directions north, south, east, west. Now we're talking about, the periodic elements and the periodic table and learning about chemicals and the reactions.
But it was safe to eat, so
Yeah,
I
it
can
was fine.
say that. But it was very cool, and they had gluten-free options, of course. So they do have allergy-friendly, options as well as ones that there wasn't. But with that said, they are now incorporating a ton of different ones. Even one, Andrew, that I just saw that you can now get on one of the ferries and partake in one of the dessert parties.
Yeah, so just to backtrack a bit, the gluten-free options were specific. You had to let that allergy notice to Disney ahead of time, and they had a bunch of special treats prepared, for Sophia. So make sure when you sign up for these things, there is always add that dietary request. So whatever dietary request that may be needed for you, you want to make sure you make Walt Disney World and the restaurant or the party that you're attending know ahead of time so they can be prepared. And so Walt Disney World is actually calling this, appetizing occasion. So they're enhancing the evening, the experience. It's new. It's returning dessert parties and dinner packages at Walt Disney World, all in preparation for the 50th anniversary. And looking at some of the pictures makes me hungry.
Oh my gosh. So I'm a huge lemon meringue type person, and there is a beautiful spread. There's lemon meringue there. It looks like a cheesecake spread. There's definitely something for all the chocolate lovers. And then, too, I know we were just mentioning desserts, but there are appetizers. We're seeing like mini sliders. We're seeing a sushi platter. So there's definitely more than just desserts. So it's appetizing occasions.
Right. So basically, their Disney Enchantment debuts coming up October 1st at Magic Kingdom Park. And, one thing Disney's trying to do to enrich the experience and of the immersive show itself is they're having these dessert party options with specific viewing locations, pretty much from the heart of the park right to Seven Seas Lagoon. So those reservations are available now. So if you are interested in that, I would try to book it as soon as possible. It will be starting on Saturday night, October 2nd. They also are going to have the celebration at the top. So the 50th Flavors and Fireworks, they're calling it, at Disney's Contemporary Resort. So, the official news release from Disney is the sophisticated evening awaits at this event where guests are welcome to the private Sonoma and Napa rooms at California Grill to sample a selection of specialty drinks, canapes, sushi, small plates. Several items pay homage to the original menu from the resort's opening in 1971, including a Florida lobster bisque. So once you have an elevated cocktail hour, guests can step outside to the observation deck on the 15th floor for a unique viewpoint of Disney enchantment, complete with the synchronized music piped through. That would be fantastic. Wow. The event continues back inside after the show with petite fours, cordials, and coffee. So a lot looks delicious, and that is specific to Contemporary Resort. They also have 3 dessert party options being held at Magic Kingdom Park during Disney Enchantment. One of them is the Disney Enchantment pre-party, which will be starting October 3rd, and that'll be held at Tomorrowland Terrace Restaurant. So that's going to be 50th anniversary themed desserts as well, prepared by the pastry chef, cheeses, beverages, and selections of beer and wine included. So there you go, alcohol included in that one.
That's a big one.
That'll be before the show begins, and then
they get reserved standing locations to on the Plaza Gardens with prime viewing of Disney Enchantment. So that is definitely a perk, because then you'll be able to see, fireworks at a special location. And then there's 3 different packages. So Andrew went over the first one. The second one is called Disney Enchantment Treats and Seats. So therefore, you have, prepared.
That's the one at Tomorrowland Terrace. I already spoke about that one.
No, but sorry, keep going.
And then you were just talking about the Plaza Gardens. That's the Disney Enchantment after party. So the treats and seats was prior to the show, so you could watch the show.
Okay.
We also had the one at the Contemporary Resort with the California Grill, which is outside of Magic Kingdom, but up on the rooftop there. And then finally, these are all starting October 3rd. Actually, the last one has already started. I correct myself. It's called a Sparkling Dessert Cruise, Fairy Tale Fireworks. And that's the one Heather was referring to as she was overly excited when she went overboard.
This one looked the most exciting to me. Because
why?
Well, because I've never heard them having, because you're going to set sail from the Transportation and Ticket Center on a ferry boat for a magical evening at the on the Seven Seas Lagoon. You're going to be able to try a variety of bite-sized signature sweets, including a build-your-own mousse, key lime tarts.
I love key lime.
Key lime is Andrew's favorite. Cupcakes and specialty beverages with and without alcohol. Children can participate in an ultraviolet scavenger hunt. And during the cruise, guests can observe Magic Kingdom Park fireworks accompanied by stunning water views. So
Right, so
cool.
lots going on at Magic Kingdom for the 50th. A lot of dinner and dessert parties. Definitely want to check one of those out. We say try to book your reservations as soon as possible. Obviously, any of the agents here at MD Travel can help you that as well. Harmonious is the other show that is kicking off at the World Showcase Lagoon at Epcot coming up on October 1st. Now, we know if you've been to the parks, you've seen what the lagoon kind of looks like with all of the equipment and barges out there. So it's all this choreographed moving fountains, lights, and pyrotechnics and lasers. It's a completely 360-degree view. So they're saying there's not going to be a spot that's not prime for viewing. But for Harmonious, they're going to have 2 new packages for dinner and a show. And these are the Rose and Crown Fireworks Dining Package. That'll be starting October 1st. Reservations are open now. So guests can dine under the stars at the patio of the Rose and Crown Dining Room, which is in it's the Britain. And you'll sit back, you enjoy the wonder of Harmonious. It's a price-fixed menu, an appetizer, entree, dessert, platter, and unlimited beverages. So that's one of them. The other one is in Morocco, Heather.
The other one is in Morocco. So that is called the Spice Road Table Dining Package.
Yep.
All right, cool. So they can enjoy a delicious meal and feast their eyes on the newest nighttime spectacular at Epcot. They can dine in the covered outdoor dining area reminiscent of the cafes for the Moroccan seaside with a stunning view of the show. Spice Road tables offer a variety of Mediterranean small plates, including grilled lamb kefta, house-made hummus fries, and spiced chicken. And this package includes 2 small plates, a dessert platter, and unlimited beverages. And just in general, these are offered for 18 months starting on October 1st. So you don't have to get there, and miss it. You have 18 months to take advantage of all of these things that we're talking about here. So I know that we're going to be excited when we go next summer and be able to do this.
Not all of them. Oof.
Well, no, not all of them. No, I really think we should definitely check out the cruise because that is definitely different.
So the big question, of course, is probably price. There's a variety of options with pricing, and it could get overwhelming and confusing. But basically, a bunch of these celebrations primarily held at Magic Kingdom or in that resort area typically start about $59 per child and about $99 per adult. Obviously, they do increase depending upon what the level of the experience is. And then as far as the dessert parties, held in Epcot, we do have, they start at $39 per child, $89 per person. That's for the Rose and Crown Fireworks Dining Package. And then the one in Morocco at Spice Road Table, that is $31 per child and $72 per person. So something you may be interested in, maybe not. It's up to you. Here's what's happening next, Heather. Here we go.
All right. So, I think we should talk about the official, where is it? The official, the virtual queue for Remy's Ratatouille Adventures begins, of course, on the 1st. And Andrew and I did talk about our experience with the Star Wars virtual queue, and it's the same process. So, with that said, what we need to do is that you need to have a valid ticket or park or theme park reservation.
You gotta have both.
We have to have both. Okay,
Gotta
so
have
hold on.
both.
You have to have the. So
You need to have a valid ticket.
Yep.
And a theme park reservation for Epcot.
For that day that you're trying to get on the queue. And it's through the app, the My Disney Experience app. And then you're going to check for availability, boarding groups starting at 7 a.m. But what was it, episode 2? We went through how we ended up getting on it. We had it set to a science where Andrew was the one to be on the app and do not use the Wi-Fi that Disney provides because that could be overload. So just get off of Wi-Fi.
I love how you're trying to bring science back into this now.
Oh.
But yeah, 7 a.m.
I'm going to take care of you guys. You'll see.
7 a.m. is, on the day of your park reservation. That's when you want to check for an available boarding group. And that is prior to you arriving at the theme park.
Right.
However, like it was with Galaxy's Edge, Rise of the Resistance, if guests are unable to join the morning virtual queue opportunity, you are able to check for available boarding groups starting at 1 o'clock, but you have to have entered the park. So same thing. And again, you have to be at Epcot in order to access that second virtual queue opportunity, and access to the boarding group is obviously subject to availability and it's not guaranteed. I believe that the reason why the Rise of the Resistance has gone on pause and is now standby is because maybe they don't have it set up that they can run multiple virtual queues at one time.
Right, have the capacity to do so. That's a great point.
So I think that's why they're starting this with Remy, with the Ratatouille Adventure, and they put the other one on standby. And last week we posted, I don't know if it was Thursday, there was about a 3-hour wait for Rise of the Resistance. So again, it's an experience. You got to do it once. Now, I can't wait 3 hours. That's just me.
For Star Wars or like?
Well, for Star Wars,
I know that is a long time.
That 3 hours, And listen, not putting the cart before the horse. Hopefully, Disney Genie Plus. The next 18 months, we know we're going to be busy, but hopefully, Genie Plus and everything's going to help. And I'm not fully sold on the individual attraction selection, but to me, 3 hours on a line. I may pay the money. I said I wouldn't, but if it's 3 hours,
right,
I may pay the money, and I know that's like bad juju. I know. I may be that person, but then of course I shorten it for everybody on the standby line. But I don't know. 3 hours is a long time to wait. That's and if you got kids, you feel me.
Oh
you
God.
Understand what it is. So I'm glad we were able to experience Rise of the Resistance. Multiple times, 3 times.
Yes, and I want to say that it was almost 4. I think even 5.
No, it was 3 and then 4. We didn't do it that last one because it was late at night.
It was too later, right?
That's when we went into the park at like 2:30, and there were still boarding groups available. But it was towards park closing, and and the kids were they were spent by that point.
Right.
But so again, you'll have to see what works for you. If you have the amount of time to spend, on the virtual queue, on the standby line for Rise of the Resistance.
Right.
And hopefully, fingers crossed for everybody who's attending, we do have another good friend heading down there around Thanksgiving. So we'll be able to get some more intel, at that point, how the lines are, how the crowds are, how are things working. I don't think Genie Plus and the individual attraction selection, maybe late October, early November, they'll start rolling that out. Again, I think it's too soon to tell. But, of course, we will definitely keep you posted on that.
Right. I have a theory. You want to hear it?
Oh, now we're going to a whole new content
Here
area.
we go. No. This is related, I promise.
Here's your soapbox.
Oh, gosh, I can't.
Get on top of it.
So here we go. So, and this is not at all dissing my Remy fans or my Ratatouille fans, but I don't see the cult following that's like compared to Star Wars for Remy. You understand what I'm saying?
I do, but I disagree.
What?
No, well...
Stop it.
No, you have to understand. Yes, there are people who absolutely love Star Wars, 100%.
Right.
And those people are the ones that are going to 100% book that voyage on the Galactic Star Cruiser next spring.
And we haven't even talked about that. We will.
However, you're talking about people who love Disney.
I know.
Whether you've seen the movie or not, I definitely think you should. It is tastefully done. I still think people are going to absolutely fall in love with the France Pavilion.
Right.
I absolutely think they're going to love the updates, the restaurants, and I think Remy's Ratatouille Adventure just ties it all together. So yeah, yes, no one's dressing up in a rat costume, okay, like they could as a Jedi Master. I understand that if that's what you're saying.
Yes.
However, I think that you're going to see, tons of people flock to France, tons of people, because if anybody has experienced the ride in Disneyland Paris, you're going to be blown away. If you've not been to Disney World recently and you have not been able to go on Rise of the Resistance or Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Rail, you don't know this ride technology yet, the trackless technology. So you're going to have a brand new view on rides and the experience itself.
Right.
So I do think, well, I agree partially with you.
Okay. I don't even know if I got my whole point out, but I think you know where I'm going with it.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that there is a love and a fandom of Star Wars like no other.
Right.
I think we've seen that. They spend the money at the movie theaters, the costumes, the cosplay. And obviously, Disney knows it with the Galactic Star Cruiser. They're not going to make a Remy's Ratatouille kitchen boat. Okay, so I agree with you. But I do think that this is going to be, a home run for Disney. I really think they're going to, Remy's going to do great things and just really bring more people and entice them to go to Epcot. Because Epcot's always been, up until, recently, it's not always the kid favorite.
Right.
It's always the adult favorite. We can spend a whole episode on that. However, kids, they're really, the families, they're really trying to attract them to Epcot, to more people to Epcot, with everything coming. Obviously Guardians of the Galaxy is coming. When Frozen opened there, there's a lot. They're absolutely doing a lot, there at Epcot. Is it going to, surpass Magic Kingdom or right now Hollywood Studios? No, but I think that, they're on the right track.
So what I was just kind of Googling here for a second, because I'm going to go down to a science now.
Oh, God.
I was looking to see, Rise of the Resistance opened before COVID, so I don't have exact, numbers, but I wanted to see when Disney World opened after it was safe to open, like with COVID.
Last summer.
Okay, but date-wise. So it would be 2009.
Mid-end of July. It was more DVC members only. But anyways, keep going.
All right. Well, no, because I'm just very curious to see, because it wasn't until recently that that Star Wars was able to let people on through the standby line.
Correct.
So I'm trying to find the time it took to get to that point.
Well, there's too many factors. I think you're needle in a haystack there, because your park capacity was down when that first started happening, when we were down there in mid to late August. All the resorts have not been opened yet. So remember, the Port Orleans aren't still open. One of the All-Stars is not open. So there's a lot they have not fully opened all of their resorts yet. So, I think when and we don't know what the capacity number is. So,
right.
You got to keep looking for those park reservations. They can shut it down. They can open up more, based on whatever they're thinking. So I don't know. But you got to remember also, anybody who's a Disney fan could have gone to Disneyland and gotten on Rise of the Resistance out there. So that's, they know Star Wars is its own animal.
Right.
And attracting people. And that's why it's on both coasts, hands down. It's in California, and obviously it's in Florida. So, but that's good. So that's your homework. Figure it out. Find some numbers, crunch some math. There you go. We've hit almost all 5 subjects today.
Well, here we go. Just going to say, this is why I'm an ELA concentration.
Yeah, well, there you go. Ladies and gents, you heard it first. She needs to crank the numbers. And I'm going to have her put it in a spreadsheet, and she's going to figure out percentages.
I can't.
So, all right, we're going to keep going. So something very cool that we were able to see, as they started releasing all of the merchandise, and I'm sure you've seen a ton of it, but what was cool was the Vault Collection. I love saying that, the Vault Collection. Inspired shopping experiences. So the long and short of it is, they're bringing back those trends. We've seen them, but the 70s, the 80s, those kinds of experiences with their clothing and their attire, and their experience with that, with how they're putting some of their decor and kind of making it a nostalgic museum, to the original, to the OG for Walt Disney World and what his vision and everything was. So it's definitely cool. It's gonna, kind of the main area I believe will probably be at Main Street Cinema at Magic Kingdom Park. It's gonna have that retro-inspired overlay, theme to the Vault collection with vintage photos and colors and details and backdrops and props and everything that Walt Disney and the genius that he is kind of envisioned that Walt Disney World would be. So. And we've actually been able to see some of the attire. They actually started releasing some of it, while we were down there.
Mm-hmm.
It's all that iridescent colors. That's kind of the new thing. But they also have, like, the block lettering. And, it's definitely cool. Definitely cool stuff that they have been pushing out, in that regard.
So there's actually, they reference the orange bird. Andrew, I was talking to you about this. Mm-hmm. And I had to Google it because I wanted to know how in the world did this orange bird just kind of come about, like its, origin. So basically what it was back in the 70s, this orange bird represented I'm going to butcher its name, but it had something to do with like the citrus agricultural community. And because I believe orange is the fruit of Florida, Andrew. Yeah.
Sure.
No, it is. And it had something to do with like they were sponsoring a special location there. But anyways, trust me, Google Disney's orange bird and you'll see what I'm talking about. But that's actually like a big prop and a big it's I think they're calling it even like you have a backdrop with it. So I'm gonna do that. I'll take a selfie with the orange bird.
Is it like the bird Kevin from Up?
Oh, no. Okay, you need to envision an orange, like an actual orange fruit with eyes and a beak on it, and then a little tiny body.
Yeah, so that's retro. All right.
For sure.
It's definitely not Kevin. Not what I was envisioning at all.
What kind of bird is Kevin?
Oh, I don't know. They say in the movie. That's a good trivia question.
There you go.
That's a great. I remember Russell just called him Kevin, and it was a girl. Go figure. Anyways, moving on. So, Space 220 opened last week, as we had mentioned. Reservations very difficult to come by, but again, we said you could always go to the lounge and try it out. It's getting great reviews as far as the experience. But looking at the menu again, and in comparison to many of the restaurants. You can get a good steak other places as well. So you're paying for the experience of what Space 220 is representing in Epcot.
Like the ambiance,
right?
Like its story, right?
Another draw, right next to Mission Space, and another draw to bring you into Epcot. Now, one thing that we always caution, as well, as you have your things in. One thing we always caution as well when you are dining in Disney is there are some restaurants that are not Disney owned. Yes. So, for example, the Space 220 is not a Disney owned restaurant. It's owned by the Patina Group, so which also owns Enzo's Hideaway, Marie and Enzo's, Pizza Ponte, Morimoto Asia, and the Edison. So all of those as well. They also own Via Napoli and Epcot, Tutto Italia. So, there's a bunch, between Disney Springs and located right within Walt Disney World. They are owned by the Patina Group. So, not that they're going to, they're still going to honor dietary needs, but it's just something that we've heard in the, in different experiences. If it's not owned by Disney, it's you're not speaking to a Disney chef that was trained by Disney. So,
right. Right. So another, I believe like the Rainforest Cafe is like another example in Animal Kingdom.
Right. I don't know who that's owned by.
Right, but no. So that is one thing to consider. Is just make sure if there's any sort of allergen, that if you are going to a restaurant that is not Disney associated, you really want to make sure you talk to whoever it may be, server, chefs. Disney's policy is the chef will come out and talk to you. So if you don't get that, that is definitely something to start asking and question, because we have seen on like the Facebook groups that there have been people who may get ill, and it's because these restaurants are not the ones that, again, like Andrew said, are trained by Disney. So, for example, when we went this past year, Andrew, what was the chef at our restaurant?
Cinderella.
No, not Cinderella, but for the Bison Burger.
Chef Chris.
Yeah, it's Chef Chris. Chef Chris was very knowledgeable, but he said that he was trained weeks for all the major allergens plus more, like, because Sophia was grilling him on like, I don't know, and he's like, trust me, we go through very intensive testing and whatnot, and then we were actually eating at another restaurant, and he's like, oh, I trained with them. So that is just definitely something to consider. So we would have to just kind of watch the reviews of Space 220. So by the time we get there, we'll know if that's, a safe place for Sophia.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not overly concerned about it, but
No.
I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there, in regards to that. As we start to wrap up this episode of Disney Vibes, I am looking, a lot of people have been posting things between the Creation Shop, which we talked about last week, Club Cool, and just more of the Fab 50 statues. Now, if you are a Disney fanatic, you know that in Epcot, they had to have a Figment. They had to have a Figment statue. So Figment is there with the monorail right behind them, so that's great. It's awesome. Just looking at some of these images, it's phenomenal. What's another one that I saw that I really, really liked? There's Olaf. There's Rocket and Groot. I thought that was awesome.
That is really cool. The boys would love that.
Yeah, definitely.
As you're looking, a little fun fact. One of my, I'd say fondest, but one of my most memorable memories of going to Disney when I was younger was seeing Figment. And it was like, back in the day, it was like one of the best attractions there. So when you said that, like I had all the memories came back.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what Disney does.
That's it. Tugs at the heartstrings. So they're, they've also been updating, all of their signage, for wait time, and obviously it's called the Lightning Lanes. I don't think they've really pushed anything out with Genie Plus and so forth yet, but definitely, some cool stuff. The one last thing I wanted to touch upon is, as people are starting to plan make their plans for spring and summer 2022, the big question that we get asked a lot is, Disney World, free dining, dates, info. Free dining, hasn't been back since pre-COVID. So I hate keep talking about it, but, when the world caught on fire for, that time, it was a great offer for Walt Disney World, and it was a great discount. We've experienced it, the pros, the cons, and everything like that. Historically looking at, and we're just kind of guessing here, when it'll come back. If it'll come back, we don't even know, if it will come back. But the return of Disney Dining Plan is kind of a prerequisite to free dining returning. So we don't even have the Disney Dining Plan that you can pay for at this point. So before they're going to give you anything for free, they're obviously going to make people pay for it. So, but it is a huge promotion. It's a huge driver for Disney as far as hotel bookings go and staying on property. But again, right now, hotel capacity, for the 50th, they may not need that enticement to get people. Maybe it'll be in certain slow times. But I do think that, we're starting to see the normalcy returning to Walt Disney World. The restaurants, the resorts, everything's been gradually reopening. The majority of the restaurants are now open, and all of the hotels are scheduled to reopen between now and December. So even for the 50th, there'll still be some closed, but, the launch of the 50th, I should say. But, things are mostly normal as we gear up for the 50th, and that's kind of a good sign for the Disney dining plan. But I'm not fully optimistic that free dining will be coming back. I know Disney dining plan will come back because some people like to have that where, guess what? I know I have my 2 quick serves or my 1 quick serve, my 1 table service a day. Heather's saying
no, well,
she wants
so,
to talk. She's raising her hand.
I was like, wait, I don't want to interrupt. But I think, give me an example. Give us an example people who don't know what you're talking about. So a difference between a dining plan and then free dining.
Right. So, sorry.
It's been a while. Like I can kind of regurgitate it a little bit, but you do it better. You're better with it.
So you have the standard dining. So the dining plan is Disney's way of kind of making sure your meals are taken care of for you. You obviously are paying ahead of time,
right,
for a certain amount, and there's multiple levels. I don't know how many levels will come back, but you've had the quick serve with 2 snacks. You've had the 1 quick serve, 1 table service. So quick serve is where you don't have a waiter or waitress. Table service is, so 2 meals a day. You could have 2 quick serve, 1 quick serve, 1 table service, or you could have 3 table service, which is a lot of food.
It is a lot of food.
That's like the deluxe. I mean, again, they're renaming everything, so don't quote me on any of this.
Right.
But, so what they would do is based on the level of accommodations that you would be staying at. If you're at a deluxe hotel, so a Wilderness Lodge, an Animal Kingdom Lodge, any of the DVC resorts that have rooms available for booking, typically you would get a level of the Disney dining plan for free if you qualified for that discount. If you're at a moderate resort, you would get a level of dining plan for free. So it would probably be like the quick serve one. And then value, I don't think they ever did anything with that. But again, they're adjusting. They're going to need time to test it and adjust the program because there's so much mobile ordering now. And they got to manage their restaurant capacity. So going from nothing right now to free dining is like, I don't even know. You're going like, supersonic speed, to Space 220. But, there's going to be, it will come out, obviously. There's going to be a lag time between Disney dining plan returning and then the free dining being offered again. I'd say it's going to be at least a few months. And listen, it's almost October. So that, to me, that would put the return of free dining maybe the end of this year if the Disney dining plans come back, are announced tomorrow. But we don't know. Whenever that announcement happens, obviously Walt Disney World's going to assess forward-looking booking trends and occupancy rates to determine what level of discounting is necessary and is it feasible to offer the Disney dining plan? Do we need this? Do we need that? And so to me, I don't think you'll see free dining again right now in 2021. I do think it is a possibility if crowds start to taper off, at unpopular times. But I don't think it's going to happen right now. There's a lot of pent-up demand. People want to get out. They want to celebrate.
Right.
I don't want to say celebrate, but they want to, they're tired of being cooped up, and they want to ensure that they go out and enjoy their vacation. So they're not going to give you free dining if you're going to book the room anyway. That's pretty much my theory with that. But I do think that the potential for free dining will come back in 2022. Specifically, the pent-up demand, I don't want to say will fizzle out, but taper out. The initial rush of the 50th anniversary right now, and those crowds and the holidays will subside. More resort capacity. Everything should be open by January 1. So after the holiday season, I think dining plan will come back, and then a couple months later, I would say that, they could, if needed, have the free dining plan offered as well. Again, way too early to offer any sort of predictions. I did want to touch base on that just because of our listeners. They're always asking about, the free dining. They've experienced it before,
Right.
and, they want to know, and looking at historical data, let's talk January 4th, 2022, and maybe April 19th. Those are very specific dates, yes, but when 2022 dining could be released based on trends that Disney has done in the past, but they've also never celebrated a 50th anniversary before. So, yeah, that's it. That's my soapbox about free dining.
Wow. Okay. So it's interesting where we have people who've asked us, should we ever do free dining? Like, this is before we actually even started, the podcast and whatnot, because, we've gone so many times and we've done the dining plans. We have, besides this year, I think the last time we went, we did not do a dining plan either.
No, and you could always tell who's doing a dining plan because it's like the last day of their vacation,
Oh my
and they're
God.
in the like the quick serve on the way out, and they have like 50,000 snacks because they never used all their snacks.
And snacks could be anything from like a bottle of water to like a turkey leg to ice cream.
Right.
And I think the last day we were there, we had probably 4 ice creams
Yeah.
throughout the day, just because it's like you're wasting money if you're not using
Right.
them.
You gotta look at what value
Right.
constitutes the price of a snack. Like, so that's another whole
Episode.
Yeah, maybe we'll tell Heather to do some more math.
Oh my gosh.
But that's we're not going to go down that rabbit hole right now. But it's a lot with the pricing and everything like that. So, and all of the trends right now are saying that there is very, very limited hotel availability at Disney World from October through the end of the year. So obviously we know there's a couple resorts that are still to open, but if they are slated to open, they are taking those reservations after their opening date. So there is very limited hotel availability, which is why I said something in January. Maybe we'll hear, maybe we won't, But that's definitely something we can talk about at a later episode is, your best bang for your buck with Disney dining plans. Even if you pay for it. I mean, let's free dining aside. If you want to not have to worry about meals, you just want to touch your Magic Band or your phone or whichever, we can definitely talk about different, things to look at, plans, itineraries on how to best use a certain level of Disney dining. So I think that's going to wrap up episode number 4 of Disney Vibes. Obviously, you can always go to our website, bookmdtravel.com. And Heather's going to tell you all of our social networks.
Of course I will. So we are on Instagram at Magical Destinations Trav. Travel Co. Sorry. Because on Twitter, we are Magical Dest Trav. And Facebook.
Yes, you're right.
I know this. Thank you very much. All right. The wife has spoken. All right. And then on Facebook, we're Magical Destinations Travel.
All right, everybody. Once again, we thank you for joining us for episode number 4 as we gear up for the 50th anniversary.
Woohoo.
Just remember, live life, do what makes you happy, and let the Disney vibes flow.
Find Disney Vibes for all your vacation needs on the web at bookmdtravel.com.